Welkom by Kaap vol hoop en ons kuier begin hier in die mooi Franshoekvallei tot naby die voet van Simonsberg waar ons hierdie week tussen die wynwêreld die bier opgespoor het wat as Afrika se beste gekroon is, dis by die Soul Barrel mikrobrouwerye. En dan vind ons pad na die skilderagtige Casino de Giovanni restaurant en dis aan die onderkant van die ikoniese Afrikaanse taalmonument by die pragtige Laborie wynlandgoed. Ek ontmoet die eienaar en bierbrouwer Nick Smith by die unieke Soul Barrel brouwerye en ek proe die life culture bier wat as Afrika se beste aangewys is. Nick wys hoe die biermaakproses werk en waar die bier in houtvate verouder word. En Devin Hendricks, mede-bierbrouwer by Soul Barrel, stel my voor aan van al heerlike en unieke bier. En ons lei die kuier af met 'n laatmiddagbesoek op die mooie stoep van die Casino de Giovanni restaurant, dis by Laborie landgoed in die Parel, waar ek heerlike oxtail proe saam met eienaar Stelios Kotsides. Maar dis nou eers tyd om in die midde van die Kaapse wynland die Afrika-kontinent se beste bier te proe by Soul Barrel mikrobrouwerye. Eienaar en brouwer Nick Smith het trots saam met medebrouwer Devin Hendricks die Afrika Beerkap ontvang wat Soul Barrel met 'n live culture Grand Cru 250 inskrywings van 14 Afrika lande uitgestof het. Eienaar en brouwer Nick Smith is van Amerika en nou permanent in die Kaap en ek het met Nick gesels oor die groot toekenning.
It's the Africa Beer Cup, and it was awarded the best beer in Africa.
And it's not only microbreweries, it's all beer.
Yeah, so it includes literally every beer in Africa. So it was quite a significant achievement for us.
And we do have him here, and that's quite a unique. But maybe you can explain because it's not only a beer. There's a different process to this, and you can actually keep it, and it even gets better as it is.
Yeah, it's a very unique beer. So it ferments directly in an oak barrel to start off, which with a blend of wild yeast that is native to our brewery and native to our particular barrel. So instead of pitching yeast like you normally would, we never, every time we empty the barrel, we just brew right back into it. So the wild yeast culture that lives in the barrel ferments it and then ages it, and it continues to evolve with each batch. That's why it's called live culture. So this batch is also significant for us because we made our own malt, which is where you take the raw barley seed and you soak it in one of the old wine tanks and then you let it grow. Then we dried it in the sun, which is a very, very traditional process.
Okay.
So then we brewed this very special batch for it and it won Best Beer in Africa. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe most people are quite used to that beer's got a specific taste and you don't really, as with wine.
Yeah.
We in the wine region here as well, you look for all these little nuances or the things that you taste.
Yeah.
But it's almost similar here, that you have different flavors that come out here.
Yeah, so that process yields a really intense, distinct, complex flavor. So, the judges noted it for there's a lemon kind of acidity to it, there's peach fruit notes, there's almost like a toasted bread, like aged champagne you would see, even like a honey kind of background to the layer, but it's very complex and very well structured. You almost get something different with every sip, so it's really interesting.
Yeah, and was it also in wood barrels? Is that the process?
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't ever touch the stainless steel. It ferments directly in a large oak barrel, and then it ages in that same barrel. So it stays in the oak barrel the whole time, which is really very unique, very distinct.
Yeah. When you came here from New Orleans, from the United States, did you? I'm sure that you had maybe humble goals, but did you think that you will create a beer that will be called the best or win the cup in Africa? That must be nice.
Yeah, no, it's something we didn't really expect. I mean, for us, we take a lot of pride in our beer, and we believe in what we do, and so all of our beers, we think they're really special and they're really significant. And this was a really long process of making the malt and then brewing it and then aging it. So this happens a lot with us. Sometimes we start projects, but they're years into fruition. And so we obviously believe in them and we think they're great, but it's only later do we realize the benefit of it. And so winning this was really remarkable for us. And for us, it's really about showing what the local ingredients can do. We're really here to showcase the local South African ingredients and try to make the best beer in the world from those and really make a distinct South African beer.
Yeah, and I like the word soul. Soul barrel in that, and soul must have a special meaning for you as well.
Yeah, so for us...
From New Orleans as well, with the music.
Yeah, it's about brewing with purpose, brewing with meaning, brewing with integrity, putting like your heart and soul into something.
Yeah. Truly that's what happened, so congratulations again.
Cool, thanks a lot.
I think I'm gonna try some.
Okay, you should, yeah.
Volg die landwyse voetspoor van die maatskappy waar kundigheid, vaardigheid en gemoedsrus die pas aangee. Met 30 jaar se ervaring ken Securitas versekeringsmakelaars die hartklop van Namibië en die behoeftes van sy inwoners. Vir persoonlike besigheid of boerderyversekering, kontak Securitas versekeringsmakelaars vandag nog. In 'n wêreld waar niks gewaarborg is nie, kan jy staatmaak op Securitas versekeringsmakelaars vir sekuriteit en gemoedsrus.
Welkom terug by Kaap vol hoop, waar ons hierdie week lekker kampioenbier geniet by die unieke mikrobrouwery Soul Barrel tussen die hartjie van die wynland tussen Franshoek en die Parel. Soul Barrel brouwery het 'n unieke proelokaal met 'n heerlike kuieratmosfeer, geskep uit die oorspronklike eeuoue kelders van die ou Drakensberg koöperatiewe wynkelder. Soul Barrel se brouwery en proekamer is in die Simondium Guild en hulle maak 'n verskeidenheid biere, elkeen met sy eie unieke karakter en smaak. En Devin Hendricks is mede-bierbrouwer en 'n man van die Parel, en hy vertel van sy leerproses saam met Nick.
Veral voor ek hier begin werk, het ek nooit geweet, is 'n wêreld waar jy barrelfermentasie kry in bier. En om daarvan te leer en hoe die gis werk en verskillende gis wat jy kry in die normale bier en ook in barrelfermentasie, is baie interessant vir my van dit te leer. En die wêreld van oudse barrelfermentasie en hoe ons nou het weer inbring in die wêreld.
En jy's van die omgewing, is jy van naby?
Ja, so ek is van Parel, so ek is gebore, ek skool gegaan in Parel, so ek is 'n local boy van dit.
Ja, wat nou lekker bier maak.
Ja.
And Nick, just this is home for you now. For now, and then New Orleans is also a beautiful place. But I suppose you grew to love this area as well. It's a wine region, but also you brought in beer right in the middle of the wine region, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we take a lot of inspiration from the winelands, and we try to kind of bring people experiences that are very distinct and very unique, that are part of the character. So like we use a lot of grapes for a lot of the beers, especially seasonally. The barrel aging is something that people can kind of connect to because they're used to the flavors from the wine. And a lot of these beers, they even have very wine-like characteristics. And so we really kind of had adopted it as our home and tried to really showcase the story of this building and in the region. You can see, so this place used to actually be an old winery. So it was built in 1906. It was the first winery co-op in South Africa, but then it closed in the 80s, but we've since dug out all the wine tanks and put the brewery in. So.
Die ou gevoel van die ou wynbrouwery is nog sterk teenwoordig met die oorspronklike strukture van 1906 en 'n spesiale vertrek waar die geskiedenis uiteengesit is. Nick verduidelik die proses om sy topklas biere te brou.
So this is our brew house. It's a very simple, what they call two-vessel system, so 2 brew vessels. We got it built here locally, which was a unique point for us, to our kind of custom design. But it's a very manual process, unlike large automated systems. So we start with the malts. So the malt gets crushed and then mixed into here, which is called the mash tun. And the mash tun is where you utilize the enzymes to convert the starch from the grain into sugar. That process takes about an hour. Then you basically drain out the sweet sugar liquid into the kettle, which is where you then boil it. And boiling has a number of different reactions that happen, including adding when you add the hops. So then after boiling, you have to cool it down through a heat exchanger, and then we pump it into here, into these fermentation tanks. Then fermentation begins. So when you start, you're basically creating a sugary liquid, and then the yeast is really what converts that into beer. The ales ferment with different types of ale yeast. They normally take about 5 days to ferment. The lagers ferment cooler, so they normally about 7 to 8 days. And then they age in the same tank, which is nice. It keeps the beer very fresh. And then the ales and the lagers then are pretty much ready to go. So they're fresh beers. They come straight out of the tank. We don't filter, we don't pasteurize. It comes straight out of the tank into the keg and then into the glass. So it's as fresh as you can get. And then the other thing that's kind of unique for us is the barrel aging. So then some of the beers, they ferment in the tanks and then they age in the barrels. And then some of the beers ferment in one of the old wine tanks, or they ferment directly in the oak barrel. So these barrels are all full of beer. So this is a version of the live culture that won Best Beer in Africa. This version has peaches in it, aging right now. This is a South African whiskey barrel filled with a 12% imperial stout. That barrel is a wild fermented beer with raspberries. 2 of those barrels are traditional African sorghum beer mixed with one of our beers, aging together. So there's a variety of different projects we have going on at any given time.
Nou ja, dis baie lekker om Nick se kreatiwiteit en passie vir bier te ervaar en na die advertensiebreek proe ek bier saam met Devin. Ons is terug by Kaap vol hoop en 'n baie lekker kuier saam met die uiters kreatiewe bierbrouers van Sil Barrel Brouwerye. Dit is by die Simondium Guild in die Franshoek Vallei. En nou dat ek weet hoe die bier gebrou word, moet ek daarom ook proe.
Dis nou my groot oomblik. Ons kan nie net oor die bier praat nie, ons moet dit proe ook daarom. Jy kan miskien so van die kant af, hierdie enetjie kan ons laaste doen, want dis die wenner. Dis 'n kampioen enetjie, maar miskien so van die kant af, jy het IPA's hier, so jy het
so ons spesialiseer in IPA's, maar ons doen ook 'n lager en dan doen ons seisoenlike biere ook. Ons doen vir die ingredients wat uitkom in spesifieke tye in die jaar. So ek sal hier begin met die resep. So dis 'n rustiek country lager met 100% Suid-Afrikaanse bestanddele, local barley, local koring en ook local hops wat ons gebruik in die bier. So hy's baie droog, hy's lig om te drink, goed vir die somertye en vir iemand wat so Suid-Afrikaners hou van 'n lager tipe bier, is iets wat hulle taamlik sal van hou.
Ja, dis 'n heerlike bier.
Ja.
Hy's meer as net 'n Suid-Afrikaanse bier. Dis baie lekker. En dan die volgende een.
Ja, so die volgende een is soos Harvest Amber Ale. So is om gebruik te maak van die druiwe seisoen wat nou uitkom. So Chenin Blanc druiwe gebruik en dan ook ons gebruik 'n meer donker malt en 'n bietjie meer caramelized malts wat hom my donker kleur gee en 'n bietjie toffee caramel notes wat jy optel. So dis meer die winterstyl, so die tyd van die seisoen wat dit weer kouer raak, dis die tyd wanneer jy Harvest Amber Ale het. So my gunsteling op die oomblik eintlik vir die tyd van die jaar.
Ek is seker mens ryk die druiwe wat deurkom.
Ja,
is dit dis ongewoon of is dis maar tipies van 'n mikrobrouwery miskien?
Ja,
om die druiwe ook te gebruik?
Ja, so in die een het ons die druiwe na die mash ingesit. So dit het vir hom gedraai hoppie. So jy kry baie van die aroma uit die wyn uit die druiwe uit. Ja.
Absoluut. Dit is briljant. Dis nou uitdink dat daar met druiwe ook nog by 'n biertjie kom. Ons het altyd net hops en yeast en water en alles. Absoluut briljant. Is nou maak lekker. Hierdie netjie dink ek het Nick met sy Amerikaanse invloed, nee. Dis 'n IPA, dis tipies Amerikaans.
Hy wat van Amerika is, het ons die Tropical Parade. Hy's 'n nuwe Amerikaanse IPA. So hy's meer gee die invloed van Amerikaanse hops. So hy's 'n meer lemoen forward, grapefruit forward IPA. So hy's baie bright fruit characteristics of karakters wat jy kry van.
Dis ook heerlik en ek was al so 'n bietjie in Amerika en dit is daar kom so Amerikaanse daai IPA kom deur.
Ja, die citrus kom deur baie sterk in die flavors,
Ja, dit is absoluut heerlik. Mag mens soos 'n wyntjie om ook ryk?
Ja, jy ryk hom ook,
Dit is eintlik,
Ja, jy kan hom so en ryk en So wat ek gewoonlik doen, ek
baie lekker.
asem in deur my neus en dan blaas ek weer deur my mond uit. Dan kry
Ja,
jy die volle
kom maar
aroma en die geel kodeer, ja.
Nou hierdie is 'n unieke ene, want dit is die wenner, dis eintlik die beste bier in Afrika.
Ja, hy is baie
dit
uniek.
is en hy's ook in 'n mooier glas. Of nog 'n hoër glas. Vertel gou 'n bietjie van hom meer. Ek dink Nick het op so 'n bietjie aan hom geraak, maar dis 'n kwaliteit bier.
Ja, dis 'n baie interessante bier. Soos gebrou stryd in die oud wynvate waar jy met die williges fermenteer en ook hy bly in die vate vir 18 maande by age en dan doen hy meer uit, so hy kry different giere in die bier in.
Ja. Ek kan nou verstaan. Hy het 'n baie spesiaal. Dit is 'n baie lekker smaak en daai geure kom uit, né?
Ja, baie wyn tipe geure, champagne geure wat jy kry van.
Absoluut, dis daai champagne. Ja. Dit is 'n briljante bier, maar baie geluk. Ek kan dit ten sterkste aanbeveel. Ek gaan moeilik hier uitkom. Maar baie dankie. Dit is kwaliteit en dis nie daar's nog meer bier, maar dankie dat ons hierdie ten minste kon daar in proe. Trots saam met julle op hierdie een. Ons klink 'n glasie op hom.
Ja, sê, plesier.
Ag, dis te lekker om Afrika se beste bier te kan proe en 'n briljante produk. Nick het die laaste woorde.
We take inspiration from traditional beers of Europe, traditional American beers, craft beers, and we kind of just use locally what we can get our hands on, and then we try to make something interesting with it. So we grow our own fynbos in the garden, and we age some of the beers with it. We use the local grapes. We just brewed a beer with pumpkin from Babylon Storen. It's great. So any kind of local ingredient, you can always find a way to incorporate it. Flowers, we brewed a brew with local flowers before too. So part of our mission as a brewery is to make some of the best beer in the world with local ingredients, locally made, so that South Africans can be proud of our local beer.
Ons is terug by Kaap vol hoop en na die baie lekker kuier by Nick en Devin by Sil Barrel Brouwerye het ek so 'n bietjie verder aangery tot in die Parel en by die pragtige en ikoniese Laborie landgoed by die restaurant Cucini di Giovanni gestop waar vriendelike eienaar Stelios Kortsides my ontvang het en dit is op die mooiste stoep met die mooiste uitsig en ek moes net hul oxtail probeer.
Stelios, this is quite a unique backdrop. I don't know, do you get used to this?
No,
Not.
never get used to it.
You
You do
appreciate-
have to remind yourself or pinch yourself every day and say, you're in the Western Cape and with a most amazing view.
Yeah. And how do you pronounce the restaurant?
The name of the restaurant is Cucina di Giovanni,
Okay,
meaning the kitchen of Giovanni.
Kitchen of Giovanni. And
right.
we're here at the lovely Laborie, so it's
Estate, yes,
iconic in Paul. It's
yeah.
Goes back like many
Hundreds of years.
Hundreds of years.
The only farm that's literally in the a wine farm in a town.
Yeah,
I think it's the only wine farm that's in the town. Yeah.
that's right. You
Unique.
like the interest.
Most
That's-
definitely. Yeah.
That's unique. And you told earlier you're from actually Greece.
Greek
A
from
Greek
Cyprus,
at the Italian restaurant.
running the Italian restaurant. Yeah.
And we're eating buracos.
Buracos oxtail made by us. Yeah.
This is lovely.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
this is a oxtail deluxe.
Yeah.
And it's quite unique. And I suppose it's a special that we must have some Laborie
Wine,
with it as
most
well.
definitely.
The
Yeah.
Shiraz?
And my suggestion is the Shiraz, which is a bit maybe a heavier wine, which will go nicely with the oxtail.
Okay.
So
And
yeah,
in
thank
the oxtail recipe, I don't know, you can't give away all the
all the
secrets,
recipe, no,
but I
yes,
saw on the
well,
menu there's red wine.
most definitely, yeah. We actually use the Laborie wine as well that goes in it. So that is a bit of a secret, but yeah, the rest of it is as a basic oxtail with a bit of onion. We put tomato in it, and yeah, some carrots.
And it's lovely. And a table just around the corner here. I saw they had it as well.
Yes, yes. We had a lady that says that she comes from a farm not far from here, and had the oxtail and said it was out of this world. She says couldn't have made it better. So yeah.
And it makes it unique with the Italian influence as well. You serve it also with
the penne pasta.
The penne
That's
pasta.
correct. Yes, yeah. We normally serve it with penne, and we find the penne gives off a bit of the starch that gives it a bit more body in the oxtail.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's
yes,
lovely.
yeah.
Lovely to
Yeah, we
enjoy.
always like to give our own twist to our food.
Yeah, and it's just below the Afrikaans Taal Monument.
Yes,
It's
Taal
just-
Monument, yes, yeah, most
just on
definitely. Yeah, the
top, yeah.
iconic Taal Monument, which they have been trying to
Change the names and stuff.
name and get rid of, and I'm hoping and I hear that there's good results, that it's not going to disappear and not going to change. So
Yeah, that's
I
also
will
iconic.
drink to that, definitely.
Yeah, and we must get back
Cheers.
to this
Yes.
lovely labberie. This is a Shiraz.
Oh, stunning wine, lovely wine.
It is a lovely
Very
one, and you
nice,
say
yeah.
there's some in the food. I had a
Yeah.
taste now, lovely, and the also the tomato that comes out.
yeah,
Those tastes. It's a program's called Kaap Vol Whip, so it's about hope.
Hope, okay.
And also in your experience as well, you see lots of people
Yes,
here.
yes,
Do you
definitely.
pick up there's a change and people realize there is hope after all, and after all that we've been through and
Without a
in the
doubt.
country.
Without a doubt. There's definitely hope, and people have been just hopeful and moving forward, and really not being negative. I must be honest. Coming out from what we had, I think it's definitely, without a doubt, hope.
Yeah.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
So,
And we'll drink to that.
yeah,
We'll
most definitely.
have a labberie and on a lovely
To hope.
oxtail. Thank you.
Thank
That
you.
is
My pleasure.
absolutely a pleasure. I
Yeah.
agree with that table.
Yeah, thank you.
the best.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dankie Stelios, en dis nou koningskos met 'n briljante rooiwyn en 'n uitsig om te onthou. Spesiale tyd by Laborie en ook 'n heerlike en unieke bierervaring by Silbarrel Brouwery. Tot volgende week. Groete uit die Kaap.
Is dit hoe die hemel lyk? Op 'n riempies by my daghuis, liewe Jesus en my pa. En ek praat so oor die boerdery en al die peste wat so pla. En op 'n agastoel staan 'n ketel en kook, soet swart boeretroep. Daar's 'n glimlag op Jesus se gesig en op my pa se blou oë. En is dit hoe sy hemel lyk? En is dit hoe sy hemel proe? Hoeveel paai moes hy loop om so 'n stukkie van sy hemel te proe? Hoeveel paai moes hy loop om so 'n stukkie van sy hemel te proe? Op 'n visserman skuit, 'n silwer seer, sit my vriend skalk en vang. Sulke groot vet visse wat die nette skeer, en soos reën in sy boot en val. En ek sien hoe hy na sy hemel kyk, daar's 'n glimlag in sy oë. En sy laaste vakansie was so wel verdiend, soos manna uit die hand van Bo. En is dit hoe sy hemel lyk? En is dit hoe sy hemel proe? Hoeveel paai moes moes hy loop om so 'n stukkie van sy hemel te proe. En op die paai moes hy loop so 'n stukkie van sy hemel te proe. Maar op 'n riempiesbank in 'n riedakhuis sit liewe Jesus en my pa. En hulle praat so oor die boerdery en sê alles is oukei, my brou.